He expressed admiration for China's development and modernization.
It's mind-blowing. It's fantastic.
He praised President Xi Jinping for his contributions to China and the world.
It's quite clear that he takes it seriously, that he understands that it is an important job, not just for China, but for the global South and for humanity.
He also expressed hope for pushing Grenada-China relations to new heights.
We should all take the opportunity to have deeper and better relations with China.
Exclusive interview with Prime Minister of Grenada on Leaders Talk. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Leaders Talk, where we meet leaders, thinkers, and trailblazers. I'm So Yun. Our guest today is Deacon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada. As the first foreign leader to visit China in 2025, how does he view the significance of this visit? What are his impressions of China's development and modernization? This visit also marks the 20th anniversary of the resumption of diplomatic relations between China and Grenada. So what are his expectations does Prime Minister Mitchell have for the future of the bilateral tie? Let's find all these answers together in this dialogue with him. Prime Minister Mitchell, thank you for joining us on Leaders Talk. You are the first head of government to visit China in 2025. So what significance do you hope for this trip in terms of enhancing the bilateral relations, and what outcome do you hope to achieve?
Well, thank you for having me on the program. It's a pleasure to be here in China, and I want to start by taking the opportunity to wish everyone a happy new Chinese New Year. I think it's the year of the snake.
Yes, you're right.
That's correct. So I'm happy to get the opportunity to witness a little bit of the festivities. We're marking our 20th anniversary, coincidentally, on the 20th of January.
Right.
And so it's obviously quite a significant milestone in our bilateral relationship. And so this visit is to commemorate this. I'm also fortunate to be the first head of government, as you said, to be visiting China at the start of the calendar year. We have, in fact, this afternoon signed 13 bilateral agreements between the government of Grenada and the government of China. And it's, I think, for the friendliness, the pleasantness, and the great partnership that Grenada and China has developed over the last 20 years.
Actually, this time, you have brought a special pin featuring the flags of both countries alongside the number 20.
Yes.
And I heard that you're distributing those pins everywhere you go as special gifts. So maybe that means this milestone event holds special significance to you.
Absolutely, it does. I think the 20th anniversary shows how far that seed that was planted in 2005 has blossomed into a tree. That is bearing fruits both for the citizens of Grenada and the citizens of China. It emphasizes both nations' deep commitment to promoting development that is centered on its people. Grenada has benefited significantly from the diplomatic and political relations with China, whether it's in the field of infrastructure, healthcare, agriculture, people-to-people cultural exchanges. So for us, we thought it very important that we actually visit China to demonstrate our commitment and our gratitude for the excellent relations that we've had over the last 20 years. And we thought this little token is just a way of saying thank you to many of the citizens that we meet while we're in China, who've been very gracious in hosting us, whether it's at the Great Wall of China or the Forbidden City or at the Museum of the Communist Party.
Grenada, located at the southernmost tip of the Windward Islands in the eastern Caribbean Sea, is renowned for its lush tropical landscapes and vibrant island charm. Famous for its abundance of spices, particularly nutmeg, as well as a variety of tropical fruits, Grenada has earned the nickname Spice Island of the Caribbean. On January 11, after arriving in Beijing, Grenadian Prime Minister Mitchell visited the National New Energy Vehicle Technology Innovation Center to experience China's advancements in new energy technology firsthand.
very, very impressive. I'll ask the ambassador to buy me.
On January 12, Prime Minister Mitchell toured the exhibition hall of the History of the Communist Party of China. He watched an immersive historical film about the Long March and drove a high-speed train in a simulator. Historical photos, original documents, and lifelike displays frequently caught his attention, earning his nods of approval.
We learned a lot. The Communist Party is a significant role in the development of China. Every other Chinese citizen will be able to visit China to
Following this, he visited the Forbidden City and the Great Wall, experiencing the charm of Chinese culture.
All of the wall built in the Ming Dynasty.
The Great Wall is a vast defensive system.
To protect.
Yeah.
Good. So I have to come back and climb to the top.
You're now only halfway through your China trip, but you had already had quite an adventure here in Beijing.
I've been able to experience, in a sense, both the enormous contribution made by the ancient civilization of China to mankind, which has been preserved for all of mankind to see, whether it's in the form of the Great Wall of China or in the form of the Forbidden City. I think in many instances, just standing there, you get the breadth and scope of the enormity of what was done many, many years ago, which is still a marvel.
It looks like you're into those NUVs and asking Mr. About to buy one for you.
Yes, I think, China has demonstrated, particularly in the field of electric vehicles, tremendous advances in that field. There's no doubt that it is the number one producer of electric vehicles. We live in a small island developing state, and for us in the Caribbean, and in particular for Grenada, we are keen to electrify the transportation system because it gives us an opportunity to revolutionize public transportation in Grenada. It's one of the challenges that we face. While being here, I thought it useful to make use of the opportunity to go look at what has been actually done. And it's mind-blowing. It's fantastic.
It seems that you have always put lots of emphasis on the pivotal role of technology for not only the development of your country, but also the Caribbean region as a whole. And you have put it actually, quote unquote here, the need to strive for gold in digital transformation efforts. So what insights or inspiration have you gained from your China trip so far, especially from visiting those high-tech companies and maybe some other places?
A couple of insights. I think one, the heavy emphasis on research and development is key because if you're not researching, if you're not developing, then you will not find the solutions that could help to drive the economic transformation that is taking place. Two, how we use digitization and technology to improve the lives of people. To have the solutions come from digitization and technology, it ultimately means you've got to invest in the education of your people. And we know for sure that is critical here in China, and it has led to many of the successes that you have.
And you also visited the museum of the Communist Party of China, and you have referred to the tour as a very inspirational one. So what lessons did you draw from that trip, especially in terms of maybe the help and the inspiration from governing the country of CPC?
A couple of lessons. I think one, it shows the enormous sacrifices made by the nation of China and the citizens of China to safeguard the territorial sovereignty, the integrity and the unity of China. That came out clearly at the museum, and I think the documenting of it is important because it allows the next generation of Chinese to truly appreciate the hard work and the sacrifices made by their forerunners. Second, there's a very inspirational quote: each generation having its own responsibility to carry out its task to the best of its ability and to the end, so that the next generation can do so. And as a leader myself, it left me reflecting on my own task and the need for me to carry out my task to the best of my abilities to the end, so that the next generation of Grenadians can also take up that mantle and do so. So it was quite a wonderful experience.
And you yourself even experienced some of those technologies in the museum, the high-speed rail simulator, and you look really excited when you experience. How does it feel, operating a high-speed rail? Is it like similar to driving a car?
It's more exhilarating than driving a car. It's quite an experience. I think everyone who was on the simulator had a bit of an adrenaline rush. But no, it's a fantastic experience and well thought out, and really does give you a bird's eye view of the provinces of China and some of the remarkable achievements you've been able to accomplish in the last couple of decades.
And you will be having a high-speed rail experience. Do you look forward to that?
Absolutely, I do. And it's an opportunity to see more of China, doing so in a manner that also demonstrates the success of China by the high-speed rail as a means of transportation. So I certainly look forward to it.
And earlier today, you met with Chinese President Xi Jinping, and both sides had in-depth exchanges on some of the issues concerning bilateral relations and the global development as well. So what were your major takeaways from your meeting with President Xi?
I think the major takeaway on a bilateral level, we believe it's now 20 years. I think we have both proven to each other our mutual respect, our trust, our confidence, and our practical cooperation. So we think on a political level, there's significant need for greater exchanges amongst all of our major political institutions, from government, the parliament, political parties, so that we can deepen our people's understanding of our respect for each other, our partnership, our friendship, and how we can continue cooperating on areas that are of common development interest to us. Second, on a multilateral level, there are an enormous array of challenges facing the world. And we need to ensure that we have calm, considered and thoughtful, empathetic leadership that is promoting the well-being of developing community, the South community, and that is promoting peace, friendliness, dialogue, to address many of the challenges that we face. And many of the initiatives that he has espoused, be it the Global Development Initiative, the Global Security Initiative, the Global Civilization Initiative, are initiatives that Grenada support. And we want other members of the international community, particularly in the South, to support, because we really view them as principles and an international architecture that we can work with to help address many of the challenges that we face in the world today. He's obviously been very deliberate in articulating some of the initiatives that we've just spoken about. I think because he recognized that as a leader of a global power, it is important to articulate his vision, articulate a shared vision for humanity.
So how do you understand its significance in maintaining world peace and promoting global prosperity?
We cannot go back to the days of isolation, of unilateral sanctions, of bullying, of only the strong can take what they want. If that happens, we will have instability, we will have wars, we will have famine, and we will have retardation rather than growth. Because we understand that as developing nations, if we don't have peace, if we don't have security, we will not have development. And most importantly, our people's way of lives will not be improved. When you look at the principles espoused by President Xi Jinping, they fall squarely within that framework. And we know that China has played a leading role in trying to assist countries in resolving the challenges, in addressing some of the hotspots. And we need that kind of leadership, not the reverse, not high-handedness, not unilateralism. And we need the support of the UN to strengthen the UN agencies to make them better able to address some of those issues, not withdrawing from the UN or withdrawing from international multilateral organizations or pacts. So we really do believe the initiative is critical. We support it, and we hope that other countries will continue to do so.
Well, in terms of the bilateral relations, President Xi also said in terms of creating new highlights of new prospects of cooperation, especially in areas such as new energy, green, low-carbon initiatives, and digital economy. So what is your vision in opening up the new prospects of cooperation between our two countries?
Well, I'm very excited about those areas. I think, for a small island developing state like Grenada, our landmass is quite small, but our maritime and marine environment is quite large. So initiatives such as cooperation in the blue economy, initiatives such as cooperation in digitization are critical because we think just the use of technology is an opportunity for us to improve the governance of the country. We see those initiatives, such as our Memorandum of Understanding to address the blue economy, digitization, technology, as crucial to helping take our bilateral relations to the next level. We should all take the opportunity to have deeper and better relations with China.
Actually, this is the very first in-person meeting with President Xi. So how do you view him as a leader, and how do you understand his political philosophy?
Well, I've had the opportunity to read some of his texts that he's written on the governance of China. I think first what strikes me is the fact that he has a clear vision and a long-term vision, that he appreciates that you have to constantly tweak and improve the governance systems, that you have to keep an open mind, that you have to be accountable to the people. That's, in a sense, one of the first things that jumps out at me. I think second, has a very calm personality. And I think obviously with the enormity of the task of being the leader of such a country of in excess of 1.4 million people, I think he understands the weight of the responsibility and the important nature of that task. So it's quite clear that he takes it seriously, that he understands that it is an important job, not just for China, but for the global South and for humanity. So the fact that he is one of the few world leaders who is articulating, documenting, and writing about those things, in my view, clearly puts him above and clearly highlights him as one of the leading statesmen of the world today. So I certainly think China and the world needs his continued leadership and guidance.
Since the signing of the Belt and Road Initiative Cooperation Memorandum between China and Grenada in 2018, practical cooperation across various fields has yielded remarkable results. The cricket stadium, built and upgraded with the participation of Chinese companies, is Grenada's largest sports facility and a symbol of friendship between China and Grenada.
This stadium has a significant impact on Grenadian people in terms of our economy. We are looking forward to hosting international events in not too long from now, as soon as the stadium finishes.
Grenada Agricultural Demonstration Center in La Sagesse serves as a practical platform for the 8th phase of China-aided agricultural technology cooperation project with Grenada. It has opened new venues for promoting industrial development, increasing farmers' income, and protecting the environment.
The technology they have brought to Grenada have benefited the farmers quite tremendously. You know, since their arrival this term, we have, on farm here, we have increased our production by over 50%.
Grenada joined China's Belt and Road Initiative in 2018. According to what you have observed, Mr. Prime Minister, what do you believe are the overarching changes brought by China's Belt and Road Initiative?
Well, I think the first thing is, from an infrastructure perspective, for our country to continue developing, we need to have the right infrastructure. And so if we start with our airport, it was completed in 1984. So if we fast forward 2024, it's 40 years later, and we would not have had any significant investment or upgrading of our airport. The Belt and Road Initiative, through the kind courtesy of the government and people of China, was able to allow us to renovate the airport, as well as make other significant improvements to our airport. If you don't have an international airport, you're essentially isolated from the rest of the world. We rely on tourism a lot, and therefore naturally having an international airport that can facilitate our tourist product is absolutely vital and critical.
Mr. Prime Minister, the cornerstone of this bilateral relation is the One China principle. So what is your understanding of the One China principle, and what is the plan of your government to uphold it?
Well, we've been both in deed and in words supporting and advocating for the One China principle. And I think the One China principle, I think, is on the right side of history. It's on the right side of the obvious political and diplomatic trend that has taken place over the last several decades. And I think particularly from a historical perspective, but also from a practical and a modern example, I think China has clearly demonstrated its One China, Two Systems principle work. You have Hong Kong, Macau as clear examples. So it's not a theoretical principle, it's a practical principle that I think the world can judge by itself. There are countries within our hemisphere that do not currently subscribe to that principle. But we believe with time, with peaceful dialogue, with discussions, that the opportunities will come for them to revisit.
Prime Minister Mitchell, ever since taking office, you've been very active, both at home and on the international arena, in leading the conversation on climate resilience. And you have put it and described your country as a living lab on the front lines of global challenges. And as we know, that Grenada has suffered devastating impact from the hurricanes. So what are some of the key messages do you want to convey to the international community, especially in terms of the urgency of climate resilience?
We are on one planet. So it may be Grenada today, it will be other countries tomorrow. And the size of the country ultimately will not matter. And I think as we sit here, we see what's happening in California with the wildfires. We are saying it is one planet, that the challenges posed, or the climate challenge, is a challenge for the planet. And it is something that we must collectively address through partnership. So when we talk about climate justice, we are not trying to guilt trip anyone. We are not trying to make anyone feel bad. We are saying we are a lab on the living front line. We are experiencing this daily. We are experiencing it yearly. We are doing so with devastating consequence.
Prime Minister Mitchell, maybe you have also noticed that there have been growing concerns about the return or the rebirth of Monroe Doctrine, especially in the wake of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's refusal to rule out the use of force regarding the Panama Canal, as well as the threats to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Are you concerned about these latest developments, and how do you think the Caribbean countries, what should they do to better safeguard their sovereignty as well as security?
Well, I think multilateralism is going to be absolutely vital more than ever in this era. And the need for diplomacy, advocacy, for dialogue, for sitting down and speaking in a manner that's responsible, that encourages stability, that encourages peace, and that encourages people-centered development first, rather than power, unilateralism, bullying, or egotistical governance is going to be absolutely critical. Panama is essentially part of the Caribbean and Latin America. We obviously will support the sovereignty of Panama. History has already told us what will happen. We emerged out of World War I and World War II precisely because of that lack of respect for the sovereignty of countries, because of the lack of respect for international rules, the lack of respect for international law. If we choose to go back there, we will simply be plunging humanity back into a dark era. We, however, are optimistic and confident that there is enough of us in the world, and particularly in the global south, who understand that, and so who will spend all our time, efforts advocating for the use of multilateral institutions, the use of dialogue, the use of diplomacy to address the challenges that we face. And we hope that all powers, great and small, rich or poor, will similarly do likewise.
Mr. Prime Minister, you grew up in a small hillside village in Grenada where most households didn't have electricity or running water. And you are the youngest person ever elected to become the Prime Minister of your country. So how do you think those upbringing and background has influenced your style of governance, especially in helping you connect with the people of the country?
But I think the fundamental obligation of governance and of leaders is to first take care of those members of the community who are most vulnerable, and to give them the opportunity, particularly the children, the opportunity to educate themselves, give them the opportunity to dream big, give them the opportunity to aspire and to be successful. And I think I'm very much a product of that.
What was your dream when you were a little boy to become the Prime Minister? Was that the case?
I wouldn't say I had that specific dream, but I certainly had planted in me the aspiration to be successful. The values of hard work, of cooperation, of empathy, of ensuring that not just you succeed, but that everyone else in your village has the opportunity to succeed as well. So for me, people-centered development is key to how I see governance. And I think we have a brilliant example of this in China. China's ability to bring hundreds of millions of people out of poverty is a tremendous success story, perhaps a success story that has never prior happened in the history of mankind. And it's something that not just China should be proud of, the world should be proud of. It shows the capacity of the Chinese people to do great things once they put their mind to it. And in a sense, it's an inspiration for mankind that if you plan, if you commit, and if you work hard, the sky is the limit, and there's really nothing you can't achieve.
You know, the Chinese Spring Festival is approaching. This is also going to be the first Spring Festival after UNESCO inscribed it on the list of intangible cultural heritage.
Okay, fantastic.
And so do you mind taking this opportunity to send some of the greetings and wishes to our Chinese viewers?
Well, certainly I want to take the opportunity to wish all of the citizens of China, the government of China, and the representatives of the government of China a happy calendar Chinese year, the year of the snake.
You were born in the year of 1977.
That's correct.
That's the year of the snake. Do you have an idea about that?
Really? That's
Yes.
quite a coincidence. So I should research that then. I should do some research.
When you stand on the Great Wall, you express some of the Chinese wishes in Chinese.
新年快乐，恭喜发财。
That's perfect. So, Prime Minister Mitchell, it's a great honor talking to you, and many thanks for sharing with us your very insightful views and also your special takeaways from your first China trip. So, have a great Chinese New Year.
Thank you.
During the interview, Prime Minister Mitchell described what he saw in China during his trip as mind-blowing. He recognized China's remarkable achievements as source of valuable experience and example for the international community. He expressed his hope to expand cooperation with China in areas such as trade, culture, and climate change, and promote fruitful outcomes in practical collaboration moving forward. With that, we're going to wrap up this edition of Leaders Talk. I'm Zoe reporting from Beijing. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.